Tell us about the challenges as an artist to create original content for the web and sort of what your experience is and where you start and where other, and how you go about that process.
Well, I think it's challenging to create any sort of series, any fictional series, because you're up against shows like, okay, an audience, they're used to entertainment on television. Entertainment on television has a big budget. There's a lot of talented people that are involved in it. The creative process, you have writers and directors and editors. And so when you start to endeavor to do a show online, you're hamstringed because you don't have that. You're wearing every hat, and you can't be brilliant with every hat on. So I think that and then you're also hamstrung by a budget because you can't go and shoot in Hawaii like Lost and have a cast of 30 and an airplane crashing on a beach. I mean, I write sci-fi, and so the challenges that I have to come up with are, what is a storyline that's going to connect with a larger group of people? What's something that's coming down the pipeline? I like to write sort of 5 minutes in the future. What's our life going to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that people don't quite understand yet, but that it's close enough that, they kind of get it. They're like, oh, this could be our life. This could be a story. This could be that I'm interested in. This could be sort of a challenge that I'm going to go through. So writing something that pushes the envelope, that tells a new story, but that also connects with an audience, I think is the big challenge, but it's also really fun. And I like that challenge because you don't get to fall back on, well, I'm going to blow up the Empire State Building, and that's going to be my special effect, and there's going to be monsters and dinosaurs. It's about the character, and it's about the story of the character, and visualizing how you're going to tell that story on a small screen.
So if you have a great story, how do you do it so it's not hokey? I mean, in your genre.
Character. Who's the story happening to? Why do we care? What is the journey and the challenge that these characters are going through? How does that relate to everything that we are going through right now? I think that it's really important as a writer, as a storyteller, to be cognizant of the landscape, the social landscape around you, of educating yourself about everything that's going on, and not just what's going on in Hollywood and celebrities, but what's going on in business, in science, in banking, in religion, in foreign affairs. I mean, having your finger on the pulse of all these different communities and these different topics, when you feel like you have that sensibility of what's going on socially, that's, I think, when you can connect with a story, because those characters can be reflective of that.
And how do you connect the story with an audience, or create an audience?
How do you create an audience? Well, I mean, in the web space, I'm writing a bunch of, the format that I'm writing in right now are sort of digital chapters. So sort of a larger sort of 2-hour type movie that have a number of digital chapters. So you have to constantly be asking questions or setting something up where the audience asks a question that they need to know the answer to. And so they have to come back and watch the next episode to have that question answered for them. Kind of like what J.J. Abrams talks about in his TED Talk of the mystery box, of constantly, and you don't want to be leading an audience on. I think Lost, unfortunately, dropped the ball because they hadn't mapped out their entire trajectory of the series. They only had sort of the original conceit in the first season, and oops, the audience already guessed it. We need to backtrack and redo everything. But you have to create compelling characters that you want to see them finish their journey, and they're constantly faced with a challenge. And if you can relate to that challenge, if that challenge identifies with you, you're going to want to see how they fix it, because maybe then metaphorically you can fix it in your life.